Imagine it's a really hot day. It hasn't been that long. And it will come again. You are uncomfortably warm. Maybe you've been working out. Maybe you've been schlepping groceries in the heat of the day from your car into your house. Maybe you've been chasing little ones around, trying to keep up. Maybe you've done some yard work. Or maybe your laundry's in the basement and you're folding the clothes and carrying them all the way up 3 floors of stairs. But you are really, really warm. You know that in the refrigerator in your kitchen is this big glass pitcher of tea. You've read all the ingredients, and so you know that it's a very safe tea to be taking. It could be black tea, maybe it's a little green tea, maybe it's fruity, caffeinated, decaffeinated, but it's cool, and you are so warm. And on the way to the refrigerator, there on the counter, you spot it. It's just sitting there. It's vivid, vivid yellow, lemon yellow, because it's a lemon sitting on your counter. And you walk over to the counter and you pick it up. And isn't it amazing how a lemon just fits in the palm of your hand? Maybe your lemon is kind of soft, maybe not. You turn it over on the countertop and you apply some pressure and you roll it around and you roll it around and you feel it getting even more squishy by the moment. And you take the knife out of the blocker, out of the drawer, and you slice your lemon right down the middle. And immediately, that bouquet of lemon. And you pick up half the lemon and you look at it, and there on the face of all the membranes, you see droplets of juice. And if you hold it in just the right relationship to the light just dances in those drops of juice. And you bring it up to your nose, a big whiff, and maybe even taste it a little bit. Now check in. Is anybody salivating? If you're not, I have my business card out in front, and I'd be happy to see you. No, you may not be, particularly on particular kinds of medications, so don't worry about that. We've just shared a guided imagery practice. And it's probably one of the classics of illustrating just the power of the imagination. There's not a lemon in the room unless, if you've got one in your bag somewhere, ladies, it's like we're playing Let's Make a Deal, bring it on down. But there's no lemon in the room. But because we have sensate memory of what a lemon feels like, smells like, looks like, tastes like, our body has a reaction as though we're just about to have something refreshing. Or maybe it was imagining a pitcher of tea in the refrigerator. But whatever our imagination is conjuring, our body is going to follow suit. There's a physiological response to where we've placed our senses. The flip side of that coin would be the morning in which you've got an appointment at the clinic. You're on your way to see the oncology team. Maybe you're on your way for a scan, and you can't find the keys, or your ride is late. The dog has gotten out and doesn't come back in, and you're already a little bit triggered because you've got to go see a medical provider on that day or have a test that day. But you can't get there, and you just can't seem to get it together. And you know you're supposed to be there in a half an hour, and you know you've got a 45-minute drive ahead of you. And you know what's going to be going on inside you. You know your heart rate's going to pick up a little bit. We're going to breathe a little more shallowly. We're going to maybe be aware of the tension that's building in our bodies, maybe not. We're going to get out there onto the road, and we're going to utilize that language that we reserve for only those times when the bad driver seems to be on the road, the same time we're on the road. Maybe you're going to be clenching the steering wheel. Maybe you're going to be cursing every single red light that you come upon that you're not supposed to. Or maybe you're just, let's be clear, that could be your experience driving around Ann Arbor right now, any day. Just to be clear. But we know that even just imagining that kind of scenario, we're going to just We're going to put ourselves there. And so when we talk about the kinds of tools and things that can help us when we are feeling stressed, when we're feeling anxious, or overwhelmed, one of the first things we can go to is the use of our imagination. And so just taking little breaks. You've heard some tremendous information today, but also some very authentic sharing from others that are walking on the same path in living with melanoma and dealing with all of the stresses and things. So you've already had some really great mentoring, if you will, or examples of what helps and what works, and you know already about what works for you. So I want to use our time together today just teaching you one thing, which you may already know about, but then sharing a different type of guided imagery experience for us. I'm happy to be on the Complementary Therapies team at the University of Michigan, the Rogel Cancer Center. And you perhaps have met a couple of my colleagues who've been here this morning already. Maybe you've even picked up the information sheet off of our table. But our Complementary Therapies team includes 2 music therapists. At the last break, you might have seen Bob playing his guitar out in the lobby. 2 art therapists. Sandra Drabant was here this morning for a while, the first shift at the table. I teach guided imagery, meditation, breath work, basically self-regulation tools that can really help us when we get anxious, or when we're uncomfortable, or when we're trying to deal with the side effects of treatment. Music, art, and meditation all work in very similar ways, but through different pathways into our personhood. And we're really very fortunate in that all of those services are underwritten by philanthropy at the University of Michigan. So there's never any charge to insurance. We're able to provide those services with no barriers as far as financial concerns go. We have a chaplain in our department as well. And we have a program called Families Facing Cancer. Hopefully you've all picked up that information as well. So I'm very proud to be a part of that team and very grateful that I have those folks with whom to work. Probably one of the first tools that we have available to us is the breath. And some of you have worked with the breath before, if you've ever been in childbirth situations or childbirth classes. Perhaps you've learned Lamaze. Perhaps you've learned to use other kinds of breathing techniques that help you out a great deal. But it's not just because breathing is really good for us. There's good hard science behind why using our breath is extremely helpful. There are physiological changes when we just breathe in certain types of ways. And it's those physiological changes that we're after, as well as an enhanced sense of control. And so when we inhale through our nose, the air passing through our nose activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which means it's an automatic down regulator. We just settle a little more. So inhaling through the nose is extremely beneficial. Exhaling through either mouth or nose, my yoga teacher might take issue with that, but exhaling through either mouth or nose isn't as important as much as just the act of exhaling. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you've been really, really revved or really, really wazzed. Now, wazz is a clinical term. I'm licensed to use it. It's the combination of being wired and jazzed. But when we are in that kind of escalating state, and maybe some of us in the room have had panic attacks, and at those times, it can feel like it's hard to catch our breath. And sometimes people will say to me, I just can't catch my breath. And the problem isn't that we've forgotten how to breathe. The problem is we're hanging on for dear life to the last breath. So there's no way we can inhale a next breath because anxiety, pain, worry about being in pain, anything uncomfortable, the body's natural response is to constrict. And the first place we can often notice it is in our breath. As well as when we're in pain, the constriction is just kind of like fuel to the flame. And so that exhalation is really very important. When you find yourself really, really wazzed, be sure to start with blowing out the birthday candles. So you're going to empty that breath and, ooh, lovely. Oh, I'm getting blown back. Everybody's trying it. And so the idea is to just create capacity. The exhalation helps us create capacity. The exhalation also offloads that stress and tension. It's also offloading naturally occurring wastes that just come inside our bodies. So go ahead and just let it go. So that kind of focusing on inhaling, receiving, and exhaling to release, or filling and emptying, receiving and releasing. It doesn't have to be diaphragmatic, deep belly breath, but one way to practice your breathing and your breath is to put your hand over your belly button. And as you inhale, you should actually feel your hand moving ever so slightly away from your spine or outward away from your spine. And as you exhale, you should feel it just kind of relax a little bit back toward the spine. It's not dramatic. So it's really subtle, but so it's just practicing that can sometimes just be very, very helpful. I recommend practicing that when you're stopped at the red light. Or when you're standing in a long line at some sort of store waiting to check out. It's good stuff, Maynard. So just filling and emptying. The breath is just so powerful, and it's just a matter of remembering that we can control ourselves. We can control our response to any particular situation if we just simply take 3 easy breaths. Sometimes we call it about a centering breath, or a cleansing breath, or just a settling breath. So just filling and emptying. If you're cold, imagine a warm breath coming in, and you're sending out the cold as you exhale. If you're overly warm, imagine a nice cooling breath coming in, and then sending it out as you exhale, and then sending out all the warmth as you exhale. If you want to really build on some breathing practices, counting can sometimes help, particularly when we're anxious or having a hard time. This is really helpful when we're trying to fall asleep. Inhale to the count of 3, exhale to the count of 3. And you can change the count. Inhale to the count of 4, exhale to the count of 4. Inhale to the count of 4, exhale to the count of 5. Inhale to the count of 4, exhale to the count of 6. The more that we can extend our exhalation, the more settling, the more in control we tend to feel. One more breathing tip. Maybe some of you have practiced square breathing before. And square breathing is also another way for us to put ourselves back in the driver's seat and feel in control. It's a square. So if we start with the inhalation, inhale to the count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 2, 3, 4. It's a really good way just to settle and to focus something other than what we're worried about. And also, it just helps regulate our breathing. And it's a very subtle reminder to our scared inner self, I got this. I got this. We're in control here. Questions? Good. Okay. So we're going to do a bit longer sort of guided imagery right now. So go ahead and, we didn't get our break. If you need to just stand a little bit or just even stretch a little bit, that's good stuff. Yeah, go ahead and feel free to stand up if you'd like to, and whatever you know works for you. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then when you sit back down or in your seats now, find a position that just feels comfortable. See if you can align your spine and your neck and your head in a fashion that feels easy and supported. This is not your mother telling you to sit up straight. This is just you settling into that space just for the next few minutes. It's not long. Just for the next few moments, because these moments are just for you. You're not needed anywhere by anybody for anything. Go ahead and close your eyes if you're comfortable. Know that my eyes will be closed. I'm not standing here staring at you. And know also that you may feel the need to shift around during this. The body's always making micro movements to keep us comfortable. And so just begin by focusing on your breath, just becoming aware of your breath. You don't have to work at it or change anything, but just simply notice. Inhaling to the nose, if that's available to you, easily and fully. And then exhaling, letting it go, easily and fully. Finding a comfortable rate for yourself, a comfortable rhythm to the filling and emptying. And just noticing. See if you can just, with your mind's eye, follow that breath all the way in and all the way out. Noticing perhaps with each successive breath, a growing sense of ease and calm. Sending each successive breath lower and deeper into your body and into your being. Perhaps noticing your muscles starting to soften, your joints softening, just settling. And when the thoughts arise, and they will, and compete for your attention, there's no need to engage or interpret or analyze. Just allow any thoughts to be like bubbles in the glass that arise and are released. Always bringing your awareness back to your breath. And likewise, with any emotions or any feelings that may arise, just let them bubble up and on through and be released like steam into a cloud. Bringing your awareness back to your breath, your constant companion, your breath. And now that you're feeling more settled and centered, let your mind's eye take you to a place where you know you're free. A place perhaps where you have vacationed, or a place you dream of visiting. Maybe it's your place up north. Maybe it's a special place from your childhood. But let yourself go there. And if you're having trouble settling on a spot, just simply take a nice, easy breath. And as you exhale next, just let this place of peace and freedom appear. And so there you are. This place with no deadlines, no timelines, no appointments, no responsibilities, where you are free to be totally and authentically yourself. You're safe. Take a look around and just explore it for a little bit. See if you can visualize and pan the view from right to left or left to right and taking it in. What colors do you notice? Maybe you can see the sky. Maybe it's a bright blue or a deep blue, or maybe it's evening or early morning, and the sun and the light are just at the edges of your frame. Maybe some clouds. Maybe you see vegetation or a forest. Maybe you're looking out over water. Maybe you're in a meadow with splashes of color from blooming things. And what is it that you can hear in this place? Maybe you hear the wind in the trees or the grasses. Maybe you hear the movement of water, either in its banks or rushing to the shore. Maybe you hear birds, people playing in the distance, the pop and crack of a campfire. What do you hear? What aromas do you notice? Maybe your favorite meal being prepared. Maybe lavender in the field. Maybe blossoms and their fragrance. Maybe you taste on your lips just a little bit of salt from the ocean's breeze. Maybe you're seated on something comfortable or reclining. Maybe you've got sand between your toes, or your hiking boots with forest pine needles beneath your feet. Maybe you're leaning up against a rock or a tree. Maybe you're sitting in your most favorite comfortable chair, looking out the window. Maybe you can feel the sun's warmth on your face or your back, the breeze just moving past you. Just taking it all in. What is here for you? What do you notice? You've brought yourself to this place for connection. Connection to the beauty that you feel here, to the warmth, to the light, to the sounds. You've brought yourself here to connect with your highest self or your inner self. Maybe you've brought yourself here to connect with that scared little child within you. And you're showing that child the beauty and the wonder of this place and showing that little child how much you care and love for her or him. Or maybe you've invited someone else to come and join you here. Maybe you've got a pet. Maybe someone who's dearly departed and their essence has come to share this space with you. But you know that each time you allow yourself to make this brief journey, something special happens for you. A re-engagement with this deep reservoir of calm and peace that you have at your very core. Maybe the specialness is just a break from all of the busyness, a reminding, a remembering of all of who you are. And just taking it in and being here. And maybe there's something for which you're grateful for having this experience. And if so, just simply take note and tuck it away for later. It will come to you when you need or want it. Gratitude is such a powerful ally. And just for now, take a look around and a listen around and a whiff around. Taking it in just once more, the colors, the textures, the light, the sounds, the energy of this place, so deeply connecting with your own energy. You're always only just a few breaths away from here or anywhere else. You carry these sensations deep within yourself at all times, readily available to you. And just for now, begin to make that brief trip back into this room. Feel yourself seated in your chair and supported in your seat. And when you're ready, restored, reconnected, calm, when you are you, and so you are. Nicely done. So let me just say, this is one way that we have of managing the stress. But let me also say that when we practice these sorts of things, we don't practice them so that we aren't stressful again, or so that we aren't anxious again. The goal of these sorts of work is not so that we won't ever be anxious or stressed. The goal is so that we recognize it and we realize we have this tool in our kit when we are called upon, yet again, to manage our stress or to manage an anxious situation. So that's how we measure our success. How quickly can we help ourselves? Not how do we feel in a given moment. You have these incredible tools inside yourself. And our work is just to help you find those switches and access and utilize those. I do have a one-page handout that has some information about guided imagery. I'm a little reminder too about how we talk to ourselves, because sometimes when we're anxious, we don't treat ourselves particularly well. And we talk to ourselves in a way that we wouldn't want anybody to ever talk to us. But we have free license with ourselves, and sometimes it's just not all that beneficial. So I'll be at the door at the end as you leave the room today to make sure you have that information on how to contact me and my colleagues as well. So thank you.